What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Carl for Services and Chronicles. So today we're going to have a compilation with Judge Brian Oakley out of the state of Michigan. All right, he's going to have a sovereign citizen in his courtroom named Matthew Krusell. If you've been following this channel for any period of time, then you know Matthew Krusell has been around for a minute. He's a sovereign citizen, and I've already covered two of his proceedings. This proceeding I did not cover, so this is new to me. Even though it's a older proceeding. All right, so it's going to be a compilation of all three proceedings. I will have timestamps down below in the description, and I will have them in the order that I believe that he appeared in front of Judge Oakley. All right, so if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get this video started.
Matthew, is it Krusell or Crussell?
Crussell.
Krusell, come on up. Actually, we got a motion today, don't we?
We do.
You got a motion filed?
Yeah, oh yes, absolutely. I actually have issues to discuss before I cross.
But the court reporter needs to pick you up.
Here, you don't have to be at the podium, but at least have a seat at that table where that microphone is.
Threats, coercion, and I'm under duress. I'll cross.
You're under duress. How are you under duress?
Well, Your Honor, as stated in my motion, there's actually a project word that since been signed by a judge. I have lawsuits filed on all of this stuff right now, which I know that they received.
Hold on, brother. Wait. I'm just asking you to have a seat at the chair with a microphone.
Oh, I understand that. I'll do it. Okay. The front second.
That's fine. Just make sure you're talking to the microphone.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, you can sit down. Okay. So I think this is your motion to dismiss, right?
Yes, I have a few in there that I've been repeatedly trying
Okay,
to
well,
be
which one do
dismissed.
you want to start with first?
Well, the recent one I filed, the motion to reject the swearing in and all that based off the fact that, like I said, I was sent a default motion that, I don't know how it even got sent out past it, but it was never signed or anything. I was also defaulted out the fact that there was a citation that never even presented a court appearance.
Okay, hold
date
on.
and
You're
all
giving me
that
too
stuff.
many issues. You're talking about swearing in, you're talking about a default judgment. Just pick one issue. We're gonna deal with them one at a time. So what do you want to deal with first? You want to
Well,
deal
my
with the
main motion.
default?
Well, yeah, the default.
Okay, so was that on the civil infraction, failed to disclose the CPL?
I suppose that's what it was under, yes.
Okay, don't suppose, it's your motion, brother. Tell me what it is.
Well, it keeps getting
I mean,
set
that's the only
aside, so I
civil
have
infraction.
numerous,
Hold
I
on,
have lots of stuff.
Hold on,
going
that's the
here.
only civil infraction I see with your name on it. So I'm just confirming that we're talking
Yes,
about
it was over
that
the-
charge.
Yeah, sure. It was over
Okay. So do you know why the default was entered? Did you miss a deadline? Did you
Well,
not?
I was notified, I was called by people that I know within Huron and the police chief stating that I had a missed appearance date. I never had an appearance date scheduled, but I went back looking at the citation, there was no date, and actually how fast it got issued raises real concerns to me. And then once I received the default in
Okay,
the
hold
order.
on, hold on. Let's take one thing at a time. So you said you never got an appearance date.
Correct.
Do you have a copy of the ticket? Because I've got a copy.
Yeah, I
of the
said
ticket.
it's in there, it's attached to my motions.
Okay, do you have a copy
Yes,
of the ticket?
I do.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask you to look at that copy of the ticket. Because my copy of your ticket says contact court for appearance date.
It says contact court for appearance date, where it says appearance date on or before, there's nothing.
Okay,
They
but
didn't
it
give me no
says,
time frame.
it says contact court for appearance date. That
How
means the
long?
monkey's on your back to contact us.
I will also on the bottom of the tickets, it says, if you fail to contact court within the specified amount of time, there was no specified amount of time on here. I had no idea when I was supposed to contact court. I was dealing with trying to get my
Well, let me
attorneys.
ask you this. Did you contact the court?
I was again, as I said, I had no sort of any time frame
Mr.
to
Krusell,
contact the
Mr.
court.
Krusell, this is gonna go a lot easier on everybody if you just answer the question I asked. I'm gonna give you plenty of chance to give me any argument you want to give. Okay? So don't feel that you have to force your argument into every question I ask. The question was, did you contact the court?
Well, Your Honor, I would have contacted the court if I had a specified.
That's a yes or no. So I'm gonna take that as a no. You didn't contact the court. So after 14 days on a civil infraction, if we don't hear from the defendant, we enter default.
It was less than that actually when I was defaulted, Your Honor.
Less than that from what?
From whatever this was issued. And like I said, I was contacting
Well, once
attorneys.
again, I'm gonna draw your attention to the ticket. My ticket, which I think is the same one you got, is dated February 3rd.
Correct.
Okay, so that's when it was issued, February 3rd.
Correct.
So when was the default? When did you get notice of a default?
Actually, I received, I'm sorry, I know I got the thing in the mail. When did I get this? This says that, I don't think it specifies a date.
Well, did you make a note when you received
This
it?
told me, this said I had I don't remember exactly what date I received this in the
Okay.
mail, but this was scheduled for March 8th.
Okay.
So that was even less than a.
But what is that that's scheduled?
This says it was for my order, the motion affidavit saying that I was defaulted and saying that I needed to pay bond and a warrant would be issued. And I said,
Okay.
again, that was never.
And that's dated what?
This was dated 3/8. That I needed to appear
Okay.
on or before 3/8.
Okay, so that was March 8th. You were defaulted February 22nd.
Okay. Which then, again, there was no dates. I had no nothing. I had no
Okay.
notice
Well,
of any
well,
sort of.
well, once again,
appearance.
you're not hearing what I'm telling you. The monkey was on your back. The ticket clearly said you contact us. You never did.
And it also specifies right here, if you fail to appear by the date specified, and then on the bottom one, even for the other one, if you fail to answer a citation by date specified, there was no dates.
Okay,
There was no dates.
okay. Do you have anything to add?
I do, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Krusell brought this up when we were in front of the Honorable Judge Martin. She did set aside the default in the civil infraction, irregardless of whether or not he showed up.
Which I object to the setting
Sir,
aside.
do not interrupt the lady. Did she interrupt you?
No,
Then don't do that. Let's be civil. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Judge Green, Mr. Krusell did bring it up again with the Honorable Judge Green, and she declined or denied his motion based on the fact that it was moot because the Judge Martin set it aside.
So the default's already been set aside.
Yes,
Brother, why'd you just waste 5 minutes of my life?
since March 14th, Your Honor.
which I object to that because they.
You object to your motion being
No, I
granted?
object to them setting aside my motion. And I
No,
object
no,
to
no,
this-
no, no, wait, listen. She tells me Judge Martin set aside the default based on your motion.
Yes, but I was never told any of that prior to any of that.
So you want to argue about the fact that you got what you asked for?
No, what I'm saying is the fact that the due process was violated is what happened in this whole problem. When I was defaulted, due process was violated.
So what? She set it aside.
Not, listen, okay, it was set aside to cause damages to me because of what happened with the default.
Well, explain to me how you were damaged.
First off, there's threats made against me, right? Clearly he's threatening me to
No,
issue
no, no.
warrants,
I didn't ask you
threatening to
about
pay
threats.
money.
I said, how were you? You said you were damaged. I'm asking you, what was the damage?
But the fact that I was threatened to come in and pay money or warrants. would
How
be
was that
issued for my
damage?
arrest. And I was being threatened by Huron Police, which I have on record.
What's the damage?
What do you mean? The fact that I had to come in and pay money or I would have been, they'd have been issued.
What money
warrants.
did you pay?
Huh?
What money did you pay?
$280. I had the receipt and everything. It was all attached to my motions. They just keep trying to set it aside. And Judge Green never said a word to me
Stop.
about any of that.
It's been set aside. Counsel just said, Judge Martin set aside the default. So what that means is procedurally, it's like it's a brand new file. Understood?
Yeah, but that's according, yeah, but that, especially now with the new Chevron overlay, that's just saying that she's just trying to set it aside, that there's no issues. with
She
the
didn't try to
court.
set it aside, she sat it
But she
aside.
can't. She can't just set my rights aside.
She's not setting your rights aside, she set a default aside because you asked her to.
Well, so if it's set aside, then the money should be returned, correct?
Well, I don't know, did she address the money?
I don't
No,
think so.
she never did. No one did. I
Sir.
explained in my motion.
Sir, I'm gonna hold you in contempt the next time you cut her off. The first contempt, $100. The second contempt, a day in jail. Are we clear on the ground rules for my courtroom? Is that a yes for the
Yes, Your
record?
Honor.
Okay. I'm giving you all the time you need to talk. Don't talk over her.
Okay, I understand. I'm sorry. There's just been a lot that's been going on with this.
And I'm, the first time I'm seeing it, so I'm trying to get to the bottom of
You're right.
it, all right? So we started with, what motion do you want to talk about first? You said your motion to set aside the default. That was granted by Judge Martin, is what I'm hearing from the prosecutor. So that motion's done. Would you agree?
As long as my money gets returned, then I guess it's taken
At
care
some
of.
point, trust me, your money will either get applied or returned. Next motion you want to talk about.
The dismissal based off of fundamental violations of my fundamental rights and due process.
Okay, well, tell me more.
Okay.
You have, hold on, let me just cut to the chase. You have more than just the fact that you think you have a right to travel.
Yes, Your Honor. Actually,
That's denied. I'll just cut to the chase. That's denied. I don't buy into that argument. Now, you can appeal that decision to the circuit court. You understand how that works? District court decisions, you can appeal.
Absolutely.
Okay, hold on. I've denied that motion. We're not going to talk about that motion because I've denied it based on your argument that you have a right to travel and don't need a license. Is there anything else you want to hang your hat on for dismissal?
Well, I do object to the setting aside of my motion, Your Honor.
I'm not setting aside your motion. I'm denying your motion.
Well, denying, I object to the
You
denying.
can't
of my
object. You can appeal.
motion. But I'm just
Okay.
letting you know, I'm stating for the record that I am objecting to your denial of my appeal.
That's fine.
Okay.
Circuit court judges have bills to pay too, right? So you appeal me to the circuit court. Do you have any other argument why these cases should be dismissed?
Yes, absolutely. Well, honestly, Your Honor, like I said, I even have lawsuits. They've received my lawsuits to the Huron Township Police Department overall.
Hold on. I don't know anything about lawsuit. How would you suing the township work as a reason to dismiss these charges?
Because the initial traffic stop and everything was an unlawful stop from the get. I was
Okay, but that's got
telling you-
nothing to do with your lawsuit. That might be the basis of your lawsuit. So you want to talk about whether or not there was a valid reason for a
Yeah,
stop?
absolutely.
Then make the argument.
Yeah, Your Honor, so prior to me being pulled over by this officer, I was actually in contact with several law enforcement officers that are friends, and actually two that are currently working within Huron that had confirmed I had every lawful right to be doing what I was doing. The one even pulled up to me and my wife at a gas station in town, and we are in Sibley and Middlebelt, right near actually where I got pulled over, and we had discussed it and talked about it and went on about our day, and this was all prior to this incident. I had two other interactions with this officer where I had specifically told him, I've already been confirmed and doing lawful, I'm well within my lawful rights. I have it documented. You need to go talk to the sergeant that I've been talking to and a couple other buddies, right? I gave him that opportunity. It was shortly after that. And I had that confirmation well prior to me even being pulled over. Okay. So then, this officer seen me leaving my house, pulling off my dead end dirt road, proceeded. Like I said, I even told him, I've already had this, I've already addressed this. You need to go talk to the sergeant.
Right.
Chose not to. Pulled me over, walked up, just started demanding ID and everything from me, and wouldn't identify himself, none of that good stuff. And then now this is where it's all led to. And I informed him, I have body cams, I have my own recording. Like I said, I have a lot.
Okay, but you started out by saying you wanted this dismissed because there was not probable cause for the stop.
Correct.
Okay. And then you went on to tell me how there was obviously a difference in opinion within the department about whether or not what you were doing was legal or not.
Well, I
Is that
specifically
a fair
stated.
summation?
What was that?
Is that a fair summation of what you just said? Some of the officers that you talked to said you could do that, and obviously the officer that wrote you the ticket didn't think you could.
Correct.
Okay, so that's a difference of opinion there, which has very little, if anything, to do with the probable cause for the stop. So I'm going to let the prosecutor explain her position on probable cause.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Defendant is requesting this court dismiss the case because of the accusation that operating an ORV on the roadway constitutes a blatant violation of his First Amendment rights and an improper attempt to regulate his constitutional freedom. In his most recent motion, he does accurately cite Terry v. Ohio as controlling. This was plainly a Terry stop.
Well, hold on. His argument is there was no reason for the stop.
He does cite Terry v. Ohio in his newest motion.
Okay.
Because people submit that the investigatory stop exception in Terry v. Ohio controls the validity of the traffic stop. An officer may stop and briefly detain a person on the basis of a reasonable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot. Defendant claims that he was stopped without legal justification. Rather, defendant was stopped for operating an ORV on the roadway in violation of MCL 324.81122 as adopted by Huron Township ordinance. Pursuant to the United States v. Ferguson, so long as the officer has probable cause to believe that a traffic violation has occurred or was occurring, the resulting stop is not unlawful and does not violate the Fourth Amendment. On authority of state law and township ordinance, a person shall not operate an ORV which is not registered upon a public highway, street, or right of way. On the date and time of the offense, the defendant operated an ORV which was not registered, specifically an ATV on Middlebelt Road, a public highway in Huron Township. Additionally, during the course of the investigatory stop, defendant failed to provide a valid driver's license and failed to immediately disclose that he was a valid CPL holder and carrying a firearm, which is why he was cited.
All right.
Which
So,
I object to the.
hold on. All right. So the one misdemeanor is operate the ORV on the roadway, and the other one is fail to display a valid license.
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right. So that's her response to your argument. They didn't have probable cause. What's your reply to her response?
Well, I object to her terms of operate. There's no evidence that I was operating anything.
Okay, let me stop you. I killed that when I said the whole traveling thing doesn't go anywhere with me. Operating and traveling, as you define operating, or as you define traveling, we define it operating. So hold on, I've already ruled on that issue. You can appeal that decision to the circuit court. We're not going to plow that field again. So now we're talking about probable cause. What I just heard was the township has an ordinance that says nobody can operate an ORV on a roadway. Would you agree that's an ordinance in the township?
Your Honor, I may agree.
Yes or no? Mr.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, stop. If that's a valid argument or ordinance, and when I say valid, I don't mean if it's constitutional, if it's, stood the test of a challenge. I mean, if it's on the books, all right? If it's a valid ordinance and the officer sees you doing what that ordinance says you can't do, and he pulls you over, that's plenty of probable cause for the stop. So your motion to dismiss for lack of probable cause is also denied. Do you need me to clarify that ruling for your appeal reasons?
Yes, I actually, because Your Honor, I object to
What
the fact
do you
that
not
it's calling it an
understand? Sir,
ORV.
your objections mean shit, okay? I don't care what you're objecting to. I don't expect people to like every decision I make. That's why there's an appellate process. So you keep saying, I object, I object, I object. I don't care, all right? It's not helpful for today's process. My decision to deny your motion to dismiss based on lack of probable cause is because there was probable cause, because there was a clear ordinance on the books that the officer thought you were violating. That gives the officer a reason to stop you. Do you have any other reasons why you think these matters should be dismissed today?
Yes, absolutely. First off, they're trying to label my private property as an ORV. It was not an ORV, and it's not even technically an ORV. If you look up the definition of ORV, it is not an ORV. If you look up the definition of automobile or vehicle or any of that sense, that's what it falls under. It does not fall under an ORV. They're just trying to label it as an ORV is what is happening.
Okay. That seems like that would be an issue for trial for you to testify, maybe me to see some photographs, maybe the officer to testify, and then I'll decide whether or not it meets the definitions of the statutes. Would you agree with me? Because that seems like a triable issue.
I suppose, yes.
Okay, well, this isn't the trial.
Well, I understand
I don't think
that.
it's scheduled for trial. Right, this is just motion. All right. Any other issues that you want to hang your hat on as why it should be dismissed? It being these files.
Like I said, from the beginning, it's like the officer had already been notified 2 times prior to this that what I was doing was lawful, that what I was doing was not an ORV, which I had stated to him.
But that's
witness to that as well.
Mr. Crussell, with respect, that's all your opinion. Obviously, the officer had a different opinion about all those things.
Well,
right?
The officer chose to retaliate against me is what happened, Your Honor. Which I have the evidence and I have witnesses going on.
Or he had a difference of opinion about whether or not you were driving an ORV.
Or just didn't understand the laws.
That
the
could be
actual
too.
wording.
That could be too. But guess who gets to make those decisions at trial?
Well, honestly, in the trial, I'd request a jury trial, which is guaranteed.
Well, you can't get a jury trial on the civil infraction, but you can certainly get a jury trial on the misdemeanors.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you have anything else to be discussed today on motion day?
We had, as far as the disclosed CPL, like I said, I have, again, stating I have the body cams and I have my own
But
recording.
sir, stop. That's going to be an issue at your formal hearing, whether or not you violated that civil infraction. Once again, I got to have evidence, right? I got to take testimony. I'm going to hear from you. I'm going to hear from the officer that wrote the ticket. And then I'm going to decide at formal hearing whether or not what you did was reasonable or not reasonable. But today's just motion day. Today's not the trial. No testimony is being taken.
Oh, I understand that.
Okay. Anything else today?
Well, I guess that's no, but like I said, again, for the record, I do object to moving forward. I do object to anything moving forward from this point.
File your appeal.
No, that's fine. I will.
File your appeal.
I'm going to. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Now, the 200, let's get back to the $280. We'll talk about a jury trial date. Are you going to represent yourself at a jury trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good luck. Okay. So was the $280 posted as a bond when the initial default happened?
I believe so. I know.
Do you
that-
have any record of $280? Because we're not getting receipts in the files anymore.
I have the receipt right here, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll return your 280 today. Anything else today? All right, let's talk about a date for jury trial.
Caitlin, do you want August? What did you say? Sixteenth or 23rd? Which one would you like?
What was that?
September 16th or September 23rd? They're both Mondays.
Maybe the 23rd.
23rd? Okay.
8:30. All right, now, Mr. Crussell, I'm going to strongly suggest that you get an attorney involved in this. And we've got court-appointed attorneys, so we'll be happy to talk to you. From this standpoint, I'm not taking you to law school on the jury trial day. I'm going to assume and treat you accordingly that you know the rules of the game.
I understand, Your Honor.
You don't.
Oh,
You might say that. You don't understand the rules.
I do.
Okay? How many jury trials have you had?
none, but I have all the evidence.
How many jury trials have you had?
Your Honor, none, but I have all the evidence.
The evidence isn't the rules. There are a lot of procedural rules that will trip you up if you don't know what you're up against, and you don't. I'm going to suggest to you that even if you want to handle your evidence presentation yourself, you might want to get an attorney involved to help you with the procedural rules, because once again, I'm not going to take you to law school that day. I'm not going to subject the jury to that. It would be a waste of their time. You understand that? All right. Now, and I'm not trying to talk you out of a jury trial. Believe it or not, I'm trying to save you from yourself right now. If you want to have a bench trial, I will be much more lenient with you not knowing what you're doing procedurally, because then it's just our time. But when it's a jury in here, I'm going to run the most efficient jury trial I can, and that means I'm going to treat you like you're an experienced lawyer and know all the rules.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
So if you decide, number one, that you don't want a jury trial, you want to do a bench trial, let me know long in advance of that date so we can save it for somebody else. Or two, if you want the assistance of an attorney, I will give you the ability to talk to one of our court-appointed attorneys and see if they can assist you in the manner you want to be assisted.
Okay.
Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions?
Nope.
Anything else?
Okay.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Oh, Terex.
Terex, all right. So basically the argument is your Terex is not a motor vehicle. Well, it's not an ORV, not an ORV. Okay. So I saw your response this morning. I saw your reply to her response. Did you see those, by the way, the reply? All right. So I think we've all seen the same paperwork. Okay. You want to hit some highlights of your argument?
I mean, my argument's pretty much cover the whole thing, and like I said again, this goes back to just trying to label this an ORV. And it's strict ORV, like if I took a monster truck up on the roadway that takes up both roadways, can't turn, make turns in the roadway, right? The way the statute's applied, they could be, and for instance, they advertise like Ford Raptors and such, right? They show them in all the commercials going up mountains, same with Jeeps, all, they advertise, hey, take them all off road, right? So the way the statute's written, they can just basically be like, oh, hey, anything with that looks like, pretty much any vehicle is capable of going off road. So any given time, the way the statute is being applied to me, they can just, any vehicle that's capable of being taken off road.
Let me stop you though. Let me stop you. That's actually a different argument. So one argument is your Terex is not an ORV. The other argument is their ordinance or the statute they're applying is just too vague. It's just unconstitutionally vague. Would you agree with me? That's two different arguments?
I think it's actually the other.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. But the reason I want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I think there's two different responses that could come and two different decisions that could be made. Would you agree with me? Okay. So I want to take them one at a time then. So first is, well, one would be your Terex is not an ORV, doesn't meet the definition. And the second argument would be, and the definition they're using is overly vague. Okay, so Madam Prosecutor, pick one of those arguments. Let's pick one and we'll talk about one at a time.
Certainly, Your Honor. Let's start with whether or not you authority.
Just call it Terex. Just call it let's make it specific to him, the Terex.
324-81122.
Oh, give me that again. I was somewhere else when you started talking. Go ahead. MCL.
R81101 sub U defines ORV as a vehicle, a motor-driven off-road recreation vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of a road or trail on or immediately over land, snow, ice, marsh, swampland, or other natural terrain. It goes on to give examples of what is included in an ORV and what are not included as an ORV. Here, the utility terrain vehicle, as Mr. Krusell labels it, is an off-road vehicle. Exhibit A that I included in my motion is a.
Let me stop you. I'm sorry. In your reply to his motion? Is that where your exhibit A is? Okay, go ahead.
Owner's manual of the parent. Particularly is under basic stage. Off-road vehicle, off-highway use only. This vehicle is not an all-terrain vehicle. It is designed and equipped to be a multi-use utility vehicle for off-highway use only. Use of this vehicle on public roads and paved surfaces is hazardous. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. In addition, in Exhibit B, I included a relevant portion of the ORV handbook that is found on the state of Michigan's website, and it includes utility terrain vehicles as an ORV. It also, conveniently enough, includes a photo of a near identical ORV that Mr. Crussell operated back on February 3rd of this year.
Okay. Anything else?
I guess I can go further. Mr. Krusell then goes on to liken it to something like a Ford Raptor, a Jeep, monster truck. The multi-purpose personal use vehicle used for personal family conveyance. MCL 324.8112 sub 1 states that an individual shall not operate an ORV that is not registered under the code upon a street, county road, or highway. A Ford Raptor, Jeep, and a monster truck all need to be registered in order to operate on.
Right.
Mr. Krusell was not pulled over for his business, he was operating an ORV, but because that ORV was not registered, did not have a license plate. For that reason, I believe that this motion should be dismissed and the people renew their request for motion.
I have an objection to that, Your Honor.
Yeah. Well, it's not an objection, it's a response, but go ahead.
Okay, well, again, none of the registration or any of that stuff was even brought up, any of it. They slapped an ORV on it because they had me held in the car for 45 minutes on the phones. I have a body cam trying to figure out what to even charge me with because I wasn't pulled over in retaliation. And that is what they pulled me over for. Reading what was stated and put on there. And going back to liability or the not operating on highway use, it's referring to, we purchased those, I don't know if that bought one or used them. They tell you that they come stock to only go about 50-ish miles an hour. You can get a module to make it go highway speeds when they're referring to highway.
I saw that in your response.
The higher speeds, and that would be the reason why. And I think everyone does nowadays see how common these UTVs are, see them all over the place.
I got to shoot you down there though. Because you spend a lot of time talking about that you see these all over. That doesn't make them legal. I mean, that just bottom line doesn't make them legal. The fact that some, for example, some communities just kind of like turn a blind eye to golf carts, right? That's not necessarily saying they're legal. That's just saying they're not enforcing them. Now that gets to your other argument, which, does that create an unfair situation? But I got to shut you down there because just because you see them doesn't mean they're legal. But let's get back to that language you used. Like, I got to find it. Oh, okay. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. I understand your argument is they're telling you to stay off the highway with a stock Terex, but they didn't say highway. They said not safe for public roads or paved surfaces. That's what they said.
What?
So I'm just.
Again, why? Just like how they put on bicycles, they wear all those knee pads and helmets, right?
I understand that.
Say don't operate on public roadways without a helmet.
I understand that's your take on what this means, but the clear language says don't go on paved surfaces.
Yes, clear language is same with the manuals for again, dirt bikes, motorcycles,
Right.
right? Yeah, that's still legal for people to drive around without helmets.
All right.
You know, because it's a liability issue. That's why they put it in there.
So,
What people do with something after they purchase it.
so my understanding is that if you jump through the hoops, if you go through the process, it's possible, you know, you might have to add some equipment to your Terex or whatever. But it's possible to get some of these vehicles registered as roadworthy with the Secretary of State. That's my understanding. You know, if it's got, and I made a list, you know, if it's got bumpers at the correct height, it's got windshield and wipers and rear view mirrors. If it's got all this safety equipment, then you can get it registered and put it on the road legally. Is that your understanding?
Oh, no, in my defense, before this even happened, Sergeant Bryce, who was the bar.
No. Hold on. I'm talking generally. I'm not talking specifically to you. I'm talking generally speaking. Do you agree with me that there is a process that the state of Michigan has that you can take something that may be an off-road vehicle and you can go through steps and have it roadworthy and registered as such with the state of Michigan? Do you understand? Do you agree there's a process for that?
For certain vehicles, I would say yes.
Okay, all right.
My specific UTV, they are already equipped and sold, road ready.
Okay.
Again, you go back to the disclaimer, just because they put it in there, it's a disclaimer for their.
Then why have you not registered as a vehicle with the state of Michigan?
Sergeant Bryce told me I was well within my lawful rights. I said, I stated numerous times, both to me and my wife at the gas station, right where I got pulled over. Well, previously to this, and we even talked about it. We had a conversation about it at the gas station. The BP is simply a middle. He instructed, even told me, you're well within your lawful rights.
Okay.
He said this numerous of times. And then I relayed this to Officer, I don't know.
The officer that wrote the ticket.
Yeah, right. And then when I asked him the second interaction I had with him, I asked him, like, dude, I need to get you, which is part of the body cam. I'm still trying to get a hold of these things because I have to take them to court for it. Because they're withholding body cam image. Where I asked him, hey, I need you to get a supervisor to clarify this because he told me I'm not getting a pissing match and drove away. So.
All right, stop there. Hold on. Is it your understanding that there's a mechanism by which if the safety equipment is there, then the vehicle can be registered with the state of Michigan?
But it's my understanding that the specific township or municipality needs to adopt or identify certain roadways that they are then able to operate on. As far as I know, the township Huron doesn't have any that are safely permitted. I do believe that.
Hold on. You're telling me if the state of Michigan registers it as a motor vehicle, you guys can still say you can't go on your roads?
I believe it's county owned roads. Or it's my.
Even though the state says it's a motor vehicle? Because that's my understanding. If the state registers it as a motor vehicle, that's what they're doing after all the safety equipment is there.
But I believe it's for limited use. So like, there's examples in the statute that talks about for limited purposes of, say like parades or something to that effect.
Again, Your Honor.
Hold on. I'm cogitating. Well, it would seem to me that the township's got to get off it and do something with their ordinances on register. I mean, if the state's out there authorizing people to drive these on pavement and you guys just haven't decided where they can and can't, it sounds like the township's got to get on the board.
I could even look up their one that's decided, to be honest, they said it didn't even exist.
What doesn't exist? I'm sorry.
They're trying to charge me with the code they gave, he said it doesn't even exist. I couldn't
Okay.
even look it up.
Brother, you keep throwing new arguments in.
No, I'm sorry. Well, I'm just bringing it up.
Hold on. Let's not get there yet. Make a note so you don't forget to get there, but don't get there yet. I'm having trouble figuring out how the township can tell somebody they can't operate a motor vehicle that the state of Michigan says is a motor vehicle.
Your Honor, I am not specifically prepared to argue that only because Mr. Krusell's ORV wasn't registered. So it has no bearing on whether or not it can operate.
But it can be.
Souls.
Well, don't get me started with that. I mean, All right, so let's talk about the fact that they've charged you under an ordinance that doesn't exist. My paraphrase of your argument.
Yeah, I've been trying to clarify too and bring it up too, but I've been trying to find it. Doesn't even, the code they cited doesn't even exist.
All right, hold on. Let me get to the paperwork.
I just had one fact I wanted to throw.
Hold on. Don't do that. You're confusing me.
Okay.
Make your notes so you don't forget. All right, so if we look at the ticket, offense code is 257311. Authorization code is, I don't know what that is, 00003?
Yeah, I figured.
Is that, I'm reading it 00003. So I guess let's get a clarification from the prosecutor. What is a specific ordinance, statute, whatever, that the ORV on roadway is being prosecuted under?
So here on adopts the Michigan Traffic Code, which I referenced to, but I also stated in my motion, that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the reply that I'm looking at for today?
Yeah.
All right, so let us both know where to find that. Yep.
And, my final argument, or my final, sentence before my argument, ultimately.
Okay.
Or on the roadway in violation of MCL 324-81122 and Huron Township Ordinance 506-4, which I do have a copy and it is on and available on E-code 360. Which will-
Okay. Could you provide a copy of that to Mr. Krusell? You only have one copy?
I do.
That's all right. Mr. Krusell and I can share it. Yeah, probably helpful. Mr. Krusell, why don't you let me have that for just a minute. We'll make copies. So then you've got a copy, I've got a copy. You got a copy for yourself, counsel?
I don't, but
Let's-
it's word for word, which is we can.
Let's make a couple copies of it. All right, so while we're waiting for those copies,
I would like to also add, Your Honor, to make this even more interesting, the township is doing, Police Chief, Robbins, we've known him.
hold on. Two,
Not relevant. He keeps believing there's some sort of conspiracy against him. When in fact we're here today for operating ORV on the roadway back in February. If there's any conspiracy, it's one that Mr. Krusell's orchestrated himself.
okay, hold on, because I think your objection might have been a little bit premature. I don't even know where he's going.
So what's funny about the ORV thing is because Police Chief Robbins, we've known him forever, he's at my personal ORV, had his, my dad, same thing.
Okay.
He even contacted my dad and had asked him, he's here, asked him to have me call him, because he couldn't call me for legal reasons. And when he said, he brought up and goes, you know, man, you can't have an ORV, bros. He was trying to work out, he even told me he wanted to work out a deal with me, is when he sold my phone. And,
That's simply not true.
it's very true, he can test, they have given text.
Well, okay, well, hold on. Neither one of you were in on the conversation. So you sit down, let me hear what he's got to say.
So I called Everett, voicemail, he called me back and he started off saying, no, man, you can have an RV. You and I both know it's not just an RV. And then he goes on to call it, he goes, oh, well, you can't have a motor vehicle. So then he flip-flopped the terminology.
Okay.
And there as well.
But I don't mean this to sound condescending, but what's the point of that story?
But so they're just, the original stop, because again,
There's confusion.
yeah, you're right, and that's why they kept me in the car so long, because they were trying to figure out what to even do, and that's.
Right.
What they came up with.
Right.
Right, so that's where this whole ORV statute is trying to be applied to my situation.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't doubt there's confusion. I mean, I'm here. Okay. All right, let's get back to the paperwork. You got a copy now, Mr. Krusell? All right. So counsel, if you can, show us or direct us, I should say, to specific language where the township's hanging its hat.
Sure, so it similarly, identifies the definition of an ORV on the second page.
ORV or vehicles, is that where you're reading? Okay.
And then, it goes on to state.
Are you going to prohibited activities?
So, I am, yes, 5064 from the activities.
S. Is that where you're going?
Yes, I am.
All right, so just so we're clear, so he knows what he's defending against. It's 5064 S is the prohibited activity, and 5063 would provide the definition that you're trying to apply to his Terex.
And word for word is.
All right, Mr. Crussell, now at least you know exactly what language you're fighting. Okay.
Yeah, and again, with that definition, law, it even, that goes back to our showing that even Jeeps and trucks, they're advertised and sold and shown as recreational vehicles, off-road and everything. This would allow the township or the state to just at any given time be like, oh, hey, we don't like you, so here, we're gonna slap with an ORV fine for any vehicle that's capable of going off-road, because that's just what they want to claim it as. I mean, that's just so ambiguous, it's outrageous.
But I think her argument a few minutes ago, maybe more than a few now, was, but all of those are registered.
But that's not what was the issue with Annie. That's not what I was even, no one even brought it up at the time that I was arrested and stopped, none of that stuff. I was just stopped in peer retaliation. I wasn't charged for any of that stuff. No one brought it up. And again, going back to it, I was previously told I was lawfully allowed to do what I was doing.
What do you think the retaliation's about?
Because I had 200 encounters with this officer, he's a new hire, and what happened was, this all stemmed from the fact that our neighbor.
Oh, just bad blood between you individually?
Well, I guess so, because I didn't even know him for a whole year prior to this. It's even in their notes and everything that my neighbor kept calling, saying we're reckless driving with our kids. And it's even on the thing that he was intoxicated almost every time he's calling. And they stopped coming out. And Officer Price even said, we're not coming out messing with you guys. We're not doing nothing wrong. And this is going on until this new hire kid shut up. And I told him, I was like, dude, you need to go talk to Dave. You gotta go do it. This has already been taken care of. This guy keeps calling. You even told this lady, when they call in freaking
Dispatcher?
put in the note several times, the guy's intoxicated, just making calls. And that's why they stopped coming out. I told him this. And then, but yeah, it was the next day after I told him, dude, you need to go get your supervisor here, please, so we can face out. And that's when he told me, I'm not getting a pissing match and left. And I know his body cams out, I've seen it. And that's why part of the body cam I'm still trying to get, but they won't give me. And there's still other parts of the stuff, that other body cam that I know is missing, I'm still trying to get a hold of. Because and then Officer Smith, they're in body cam even talking that they were purposely, all that officers, is it side or like, yeah, that he was purposely watching for him. He's on the phone talking about this. He's also on the phone with Everett and a couple other officers trying to figure out applicable laws, because he didn't know. They arrested me based off something he thought he could arrest me on. It wasn't even an arrestable offense. And then the only reason he found that out was because he had to call the FOIA lady, Jill Evans. And then the original officer that stopped me, he couldn't even finish filling out the citations. Officer Smith, who was his supervisor, had to get in the car and finish filling out. And that's what they ended up, because he was on the phone the whole time trying to figure out what to even put on the thing to charge him. It's been an orchestrated event the entire time, up to leading how, especially shows even more that there was collusion. It's how I got an unsigned order and all this stuff sent to me. It was more just threatening and intimidation. And that's what.
Oh, unsigned order.
Yeah, and in the very beginning, I got a default order that's unsigned, didn't have.
Oh, no, brother. No, brother. Hold on. Stop. I gotta say this. Listen, that's just timing. Nobody from Huron Township called up here to one of my clerks and said, screw him. It's because it happens all the time when there's a misdemeanor tracking, people forget to deal with this. We got a speeding ticket you're in default in right now.
I'm being told from people that work in the department that people are always conversing between the judges and the prosecutors.
But I'm telling you right now, that none of my clerks defaulted you to try to cause you trouble. It's in the computer and it happens all the time. The misdemeanor case is tracking it slower and you don't realize you got to do something different with the civil infraction. So a default enters.
No, and I don't want to say this. First off,
I'm just telling, hold on. I have to tell you, there's no conspiracy against you on that default. That's just the way shit happens. It's just because the computer tracks things differently with misdemeanors and civil infractions. And that's all fixable. Okay. Anything else that we didn't talk? I mean, I cut you off a couple times saying, don't give me a new issue at this point. Anything that you want to bring up?
I got pretty much all my arguments for being here. I mean, this is clearly, but
What's going on with the body cam? You claim you can't get body cams.
He was also reporting this incident himself, so he had.
Well, that's a different issue though. Part of discovery is he's requested body cams. You're saying he didn't provided those.
He's filed at least 10 FOIA requests for township, including any of the stops or any of the citizen complaints that police have been called out to, but also including his wife's traffic stop.
I'm not getting into all that, but you have provided him body cam footage of interactions. You're talking on top of me, counsel. You have provided him body cam footage of interactions between he and the officer that issued these tickets. Yes? All interactions. You don't have them.
I know for a fact there's a couple of videos missing.
All right. Do you have dates of incidents?
I do, but I don't have that stuff with me. That's all part of my lawsuit thing of filing for the circuit court for the FOIA lawsuit stuff. I got all that stuff organized at home for that.
But that's stuff that you think you need to defend yourself here.
Well,
If it's not, that's okay.
well, I mean, it would also be just scheduled.
No, I just need to know because if you're prepping to defend for trial and that's discovery you think you need, then I'm going to order that they provide it.
Well, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So you don't need that to prepare for this case.
Not this motion here.
No. The underlying charges against you.
Oh, I would absolutely need that if this is.
Okay.
Pursue forward.
Then we're going to need you to provide dates. So you want body cam footage if it exists from interaction between you and officer so and so for this date and that date. All right. Sure. Go ahead.
As I said, he has been given all of those. It's my understanding that he initially appealed the FOIA, which went to the township supervisor. The township supervisor acknowledged the redacted portions were legal material and returned back to Mr. Krusell. He then appealed the appeal, which went to my office, and we confirmed again that the only redactions are legal material. I think he's appealed us twice more. So it's not relevant for a portion of it.
Are you saying you never got the body cam footage or you got the body cam footage and things were redacted?
Oh, well, those are part of the issues too. There's body cam and stuff and that's the problem is there's all sorts of stuff that's redacted in body cams and in the reports, and then there's stuff missing.
Okay, hold on. Then you acknowledge that they've sent you those body cam footages
So,
for the interaction between you and the officer?
The incident before specifically the one I want and that I know is missing is the one before he pulled me over, but the day before he pulled me over.
Okay.
Where I asked for
Okay.
missing action drove.
Prior to these tickets being issued, there was an interaction between that officer and yourself. That you've never seen the video,
No.
the body cam footage.
Well, I've been.
Okay.
Again,
Do you know whether or not that's been submitted?
As far as I know, having a release of these days been billed at
All right.
the ASP.
All right, but now you're talking about FOIA stuff. I'm talking about that body cam. That's all I'm talking about is one body cam. Okay, all right. But you can't, off the top of your head, you can't give me that incident date.
no, that wasn't.
All right. All right. So submit a formal request for body cam footage from that date to the prosecutor. She can check it out, see if it's been submitted to you prior. She can tell you when, she can resubmit it. She can file a motion with me and say, I'm not going to submit that because, and we'll go from there. All right, that's that one specific issue. Agreed? Okay. All right, let's get back to your argument, Mr. Crussell, that the language that we just went over is overly broad or vague. Let's hit that again. So is it the definition of the ORV that you think is overly broad?
Oh, absolutely. It basically encompasses anything they said, it even says, any vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of the road, right? And that's any vehicle, I mean, you can even take a smart car off the road if you wanted to, essentially. I mean, and that's what I mean. I mean, the way he just reads, they could just apply that anytime they want to any vehicle, whenever they want.
If I'm understanding your argument, I drive an F-150,
So,
right? So we would probably agree that we could take that off the road. You and I.
In commercial, so that's what they.
Right. So your argument is because they could write ORV on a roadway for that means this statute or this ordinance is overly broad. All right. Except they can't because the state of Michigan has licensed me to put my F-150 on the road.
But again, same point, mine can be the same thing.
But it's not licensed. It can be. It can be. And I would like to see you do that because then I want to see how they're going to keep you off the road. The state of Michigan said you can put that on the road.
But again, Your Honor, that the whole reason that they're trying to dance around the whole thing, because they didn't bring up none of the registration.
I know you're getting back to the confusion
stuff, right? They're trying to use the definition of ORV to.
I get with the whole, you sat in the car 45 minutes, they decide what to do with you. I get all that. Okay. And that's problematic for me too. But I don't find this language to be overly broad because there's the licensing aspect of it that narrows it.
There's that conflict there, right? And that also shows the ambiguity of it, right? So you're saying that if I want to pay a tax stamp for something, then now all of a sudden it's not this, but then they're trying to claim it's this. So how does a tag all of a sudden make this, not this? Doesn't make sense.
Hold on, you lost me.
And all of a sudden, so what they're trying to claim is an ORV, but if I magically go get a tax stamp put on it, right, registered, now it's automatically just a motor vehicle. So now it falls under.
Yeah, but hold on. It's not just about the money. And believe me, brother, I'm the first one to think I'm the first one to jump in the bandwagon with you about the government grabbing money. All right. I fight that here. But it's more than that because let's just pick the specific example of an ORV. I could build myself a dune buggy, right? Completely manufactured. I couldn't because I'm not handy that way. But I mean, you know what I mean. I could get tubular stock and build a frame, and I could grab a motor, an engine off of something else and fabricate a drivetrain, and I could have something that I could take off, go through the trails and the hills. Would you agree with me? No, but I mean, I'm just like build it from scratch, right? I'm Henry Ford. I built it from scratch and it's out there running around. But if I get it registered as a motor vehicle by the state of Michigan, they're putting their rubber stamp of approval on it saying it's safe for me to put on their roads. There's a safety issue, not just a money grab. And that's the way I'm looking at this because from my little bit of research, if I got to find it, if I want to go through the process to get my manufactured vehicle roadworthy, I've got to have tail lights. I've got high and low beam headlights. I've got to have turn signals front and rear. I got to have a rear view mirror. The state of Michigan is checking all these things off before they license me or register me to put it on the road. And they're saying, they being the state of Michigan, saying it's safe to get on the road with the F-150s that you and I drive.
Yeah, but again, you're giving an example of someone building something. The thing that my vehicle already comes quick and built, manufactured. that way.
But
There's no.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. I can guarantee you that if somebody took the time and researched what these roadworthy requirements were state by state, they would be different. There'd be similarities, but they'd be different. So for Terex to sell it and say it's roadworthy, they're not guaranteeing you that it's legal in Michigan. They can't.
Well, that's why I put those disclaimers on. The other thing too.
Stop. I'm not done with my argument. That's where the registration process comes from. The individual states saying, yeah, Crussell, we think your Terex is legal on Michigan roads. That's the whole part of the process that changes from just any old thing that they decide they want to ticket somebody because they had it on the roadway. They could claim it's an ORV. No, they can't because it's registered, my F-150, your F-150. It's registered with the state of Michigan as a motor vehicle, i.e. legal to be on the roads. That's what kills your overly broad argument, is because there's a process by which it is no longer an ORV. It's now roadworthy because the state of Michigan is registered as such.
But again, the state of Michigan is arbitrarily trying to convert everyone's right to travel by saying you get this.
That's a different argument.
Yeah, but see,
That's a different argument.
I get where you're trying to go with this. I understand that. But again, you look at this definition, and no one said anything. Again, this all goes back to, I was not cited for no registration. I was not cited for insurance. None of that stuff even was even brought up. It was strictly the ORV that they're trying to stick to. And again, by going off this definition, that can be any single vehicle in the world. Anything that they want is capable of going off road.
Well, but here's my ruling.
Regardless.
Here's my ruling. Because there's a process to register vehicles, whether or not they're ORVs, F-150s, whatever they are, because there's a process in the state of Michigan is to register them as roadworthy, I don't think that's overly broad language. Because I think you can't read everything in a vacuum. So my ruling is, on that motion, my ruling is I deny your motion that it's overly broad. I don't believe it is. But I still have problems with the way the whole thing went down. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that. Because, and I think I've told you this from the beginning. I get it. Matter of fact, I think the first day you were here, I get it. You've had interactions with Huron Township police officers that said you're good. And now all of a sudden this guy says you're not good. And here we are. I mean, that's blatantly unfair. Whether or not it was accidental or by design, it's still like, okay, that's not fair, but that's the way things happen. All right. There's not a hell of a lot of there's a distinction, but you know, if I drive 75 miles an hour on 275 every day and I go by 3 officers, Huron officers, and they don't stop me because I'm only going 5 over, but the state stops me and writes me for going 1 to 6 over. It's kind of unfair, but clearly I violated the law. You follow me?
Yeah, but you're comparing two different departments.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah. Trying to make that argument.
Right. Which is what I told you way back when. It's like, hey, I get it. It's unfair, but the tickets were issued. We got to go through the process and deal with it. Hold on. Stop. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to deal with the unfairness in the process. Okay.
Right, which I get what you're saying, but again, if I was charging this in, say, Flat Rock, and I tried pulling this, Huron told me, then I get that.
Oh, absolutely. Your argument's much stronger in Huron. Absolutely. And once again, I'm feeling it. Okay. I told you from the beginning, I get it. It stinks. Okay. Do you know what the process is to register the Terex to put it on the road?
I get what the state's process is to register vehicles.
How long would it take? If you know.
Well,
I don't have a clue.
That's been part of it. If I was looking to do that, I would, but again, I've been confirmed that I had my lawful right to travel by several different, including, again, this all stems from the traffic sergeant in Huron telling me that I have the lawful right to do what I have to do. So I don't have any intention.
Well, what do you think the chances are of him coming in here and testify to that?
I don't think that he would incriminate himself.
So you're planning on issuing, so you're going to issue a subpoena to him for trial?
And his fiance or girlfriend, because she was also the one relaying all the information to my wife about the same thing. So yeah, I would absolutely subpoena both of them to have them come here. I have a whole slew of people on the subpoena.
Right. Are you willing to register the Terex? It would help resolve things.
I remember you pointing out that you would like to have a traveling argument. If I got brought into.
No, don't go there. Don't go with the traveling argument. To resolve these issues, would you be willing to register your vehicle with the state of Michigan, the Terex?
Not at this point, no.
Okay.
Again, there's other arguments that I have lots of stuff to show where the conflict with that is too. But again, that's not what we're here for.
What do you think we're here for?
RV and road. We're not here for registration, none of that stuff. That wasn't part of.
But I'm trying to resolve issues. Okay. All right, because
I'm not just going around and run around and make this big deal with Huron. I'm not a criminal. I know criminal history. I was just doing something I was lawfully had the right to do. It was confirmed that I had lawful right to do. And then now here we all are dealing with all this. And I'm being targeted by people that, and I've got good friends that work in the department. We've been, again, we've known averages. We've been a part of this forever. And then now all of a sudden.
here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you want your trial. Because I don't think anything else is going to satisfy you other than to get the trial.
This needs to be dismissed, but it should have been, yeah.
But you don't have a legal argument that I can hang my hat on to dismiss it.
I had all sorts of legal aspects to show that the whole beginning of this was an unlawful stop.
You've never even argued that. You've never filed a motion to dismiss for lack of probable cause.
In the very beginning, and you dismissed it saying, "Oh, I find probable cause," just because. Sure, I have all the recording.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did. Because I said you're going down the roadway and you're doing something he thinks is illegal, gives him a right to stop you.
Yeah, but again, that goes back to the point that we had interactions and he chose to retaliate against instead of going to talk to a traffic sergeant who's above him, right? Who is ahead of their traffic, who's the one that confirmed that I had every lawful right to do what I was doing.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Who is above Sergeant Price, and he confirmed that operating an automated roadway is, that's why it's a very true citation.
Yeah, but you don't think it's gonna be problematic if Price sits on the stand and says 2 different times I told him he could do what he was doing.
And also since I did make contact with Mr. Crussell multiple times notifying him that he was not to operate an RV in the roadway. And during the stop, Mr. Crussell himself said I was waiting for this.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, if Price sits there and says on 2 different occasions, I told this guy that he could operate that vehicle on these roads, I can't see any trier of fact convicting him of the RV.
That's true. Why didn't he have him here for our trials?
I don't know.
Again, because there's all sorts of issues, and all that paper I've been filing, there's issues the whole entire time. I had no intentions of doing any trial, and I even sat here the other day when I said I'm not participating, especially in a trial that ends in a court that owned by the state, you're owned by the state.
Let's talk about that.
All hand with that.
Hold on. Let's talk about that because I highlighted that when I got your motion last week or whatever it was. Okay. That's not the case. Okay. Huron Township, let me finish. Huron Township is bringing the charge against you. It's the Township of Huron versus you. It's not the state of Michigan.
It says the state of, even one of the, not even says the state of Michigan against it.
It's a separate legal entity.
And
well,
you know Neil Gorsuch is, Justice Gorsuch? He's even coming out in the Reagan Center, even talking about how courts like these, that's what they're doing. They're denying people their rights and they're only bringing the charges and judging their own cases. That is exactly what it is. You can't have a fair trial that way. Absolutely not. And not to mention that.
All right, well, let me stop you. That's the way our system is at this point in time. That's the only system we've got is where the judiciary runs the courts, the legislature creates the law, and the executive branch enforces them. That's the system we have. If you don't like it, work to change it, but that's the system you've been charged in, and that's the system you've got.
And with the Chevron deference case being overturned, that explicitly stops them all of them referring to statutory, all this stuff, the statutory stuff.
All right, you're getting nowhere with any of those arguments, Mr. Krusell. You're not going to get anywhere with those arguments at this level. So the only thing you can do is get get a judgment here that you can appeal to the next level and appeal that to the next level. And ultimately you may end up at the US Supreme Court and have somebody agree with you, but you can't, that doesn't work here. We've got to deal with what we've got. I've got to deal with the precedents that we've got in place now, not your arguments that you think are going to be accepted down the road. That's the reality. All right. You and I can sit down over a cup of coffee, or I don't drink coffee, but whatever, and talk about how there are, problems with the system. But the system we have now is the only system I've got to work, and I'm going to work it. So what I'm hearing from you is we got to get a trial date and let you get a decision. If you win, beautiful, you can stop there. If you lose, you're moving up the appeal chain. Because none of the arguments you've got apply here. Your travel argument, I'm not buying that. That's never been accepted anywhere that I know of that I've got any reason to follow. I told you.
State auditors, they've been doing it for a very long
Say
time.
that again.
The state is, the word I'm looking for, I've lost my word. But the state is going and trying to take people's right to travel and saying that everybody has to have these licenses and all these things.
Absolutely. And but hold on. It's well-established law, might be changed somewhere down the road, but currently it's well-established law that if you're traveling by means of a motor vehicle, you have to have a operator's license.
Thanks for the federal codes and all the states.
This is not a federal court, sir. This is not a federal court.
Okay, go back to Florida, right? Shows again, it's another ambiguous statute.
Okay, look, I'm not going to argue this. I've already argued this with you. I've made it clear from day one that your traveling argument dies. It doesn't go anywhere in this court. So stop arguing that. It's not going to get you to where you need to be, which is to resolve these files one way or the other so you can appeal it if you want to. You follow me?
Well, I'm getting very loving to take it, yes.
No, it's not where I want you to take it. It's where you have to take it, because we're not going to have these same arguments ad infinitum over and over and over again. We're going to close these files at some point.
Should close the month.
But that's because you want them to, doesn't mean it's going to happen that way. I'm not going to dismiss these just because you don't like the way things went down. I don't like the way things went down. But the process has to be followed. As much as I would like to just make this go away, I'm not going to agree with you just to make the case go away.
It's very obvious what took place.
No, it's not. But once again, Mr. Krusell, it's obvious to you, but you're not the guy up here in the black robe that's making the decisions. It's obvious to you because that's the only way you can see it. And I get that. Right? I get it. It's your position. You're passionate about your position, but where you're losing it is you just won't accept the fact that I don't agree with you. I'm in charge and it's got to move forward. That's just the reality of it. And once again, man, I hope you appeal it. I hope you make some new law. Good for you.
I mean,
So now we need a trial date.
which I completed the trial.
But once again, I don't care if you object. Listen to me. Listen to me. It's not being dismissed. That means we have to try it to make it go away. That's the way the process works.
Again, how is one supposed to get, again, you yourself, and I've watched you in numerous other videos, okay, I've seen, because you made yourself, you're on TikTok all over the place. And I see the things you say to everyone, it's very obvious, and you yourself has even admitted to saying things the same way. There is no way that I would ever have a fair trial, any way, shape, or form.
And that's absolute. Once again, just because I happen to agree with the prosecutor or any other party in a case doesn't mean I'm biased against the other party. At any point in time, I've got to make a decision. Somebody's right, somebody's wrong.
That, right, to make it seem like you're not putting this exact notice. The prosecutor and these courts, they work together.
But
it's all by the state.
Then once again, Mr. Crussell, then you need to appeal my decision when I told you I was not going to recuse myself. You should have appealed that. But we're not going to keep plowing the same field. I'm going to set a trial date and you're going to be here for trial, or I'm going to issue a bench warrant. I don't know any other way to resolve the file. I've got to resolve these files. You need these files resolved. If you want to appeal me, you got to have a decision to appeal.
Okay.
So, you keep sitting there and say, I'm not going to participate in a trial. At some point, you have to, if you want these to go away. And hear my heart, if I knew of another way to get you to where you want to go, I'd throw that suggestion out there. But once again, I'm not just going to roll over and say, okay, case dismissed, because I don't buy your legal arguments.
Which is, again, wild to me because it's very clearly that this ORV thing is being overly applied because it's not.
But once again, it's clear to you. I just told you I don't agree with you. But you can't accept the fact that I might disagree with you. That's unhealthy. I mean, you can believe I'm wrong. That's okay. But you got to accept the fact that I'm in the judgment seat and I've said you're wrong. Then appeal me. That's the way the process works. I understand you think the process is faulty, but that's the process we have. So if you've got some other way to resolve these files, a suggestion, I'm open to hear it. But the only thing I can say is we got to get a trial scheduled and let the chips fall. And I'd love to have you bring Officer Price in here. Because I told you from the beginning, I believe that inadvertent or not otherwise, the Township of Huron kind of set you up to get the ORV ticket. Because I believe that you've been told in the past that you were okay. I believe that.
100%.
But I can't do anything with it here. Put Price on the stand and he says, I guess I was wrong because I told him he could do that. So what are we going to do? You ready to set a trial?
Leaving with no other option.
There is, I don't know of any other option, Mr. Crussell. I honestly, brother, I don't know of any other option.
Well, I mean, again,
Because I can't keep kicking the can down the road. I mean, I can't have this, I can't retire down the road and still have these open files here. I mean, I'm not doing my job. And I don't think it's doing you any good.
been a nuisance.
What's it going on? Year and a half now? Closer to 2, coming on 2. No, it was February 24. 24. Yeah. All right. So you want a bench trial? You want a jury trial? All right. You're going to represent yourself? Okay. Let's get a date.
Can you do January 30th, Thursday?
You? What day was it? Thursday? Yes. All right. So you're going to send the prosecutor an email with a specific date for that video you're looking for, or that body cam footage, I should say. Right? Okay. No further motions. We're going to trial. Well, the only other motion I'll entertain now is if it's a discovery motion. Understood, Mr. Krusell? All right. Questions? All right. Good luck.
Real quick, I do believe we're gonna go through files up here in the courtroom. You guys have a bench warrant.
You got a bench warrant for something?
Yeah.
What's it? A misdemeanor?
And the case number for
No else.
You got it?
Yes.
All right. We can get you a case or a court date for that, ma'am. Mr. Krusell, we've got a speeding ticket that's got nothing to do with this incident, I think, from August 21, 24.
Signing this with retaliation stuff.
Okay. Who was that officer?
Austin Harold.
Okay, did Merrill have anything to do with the other ones?
My wife on her dead end of the road, and again, that's a.
Hold on. Merrill didn't have anything to do with the February incident, did he?
Not bad, no.
Okay. All right.
Title was.
So what are you gonna do on this? Once again, it's in default because you didn't do anything with it. So
I
what do you
didn't
do
do
with it?
that. Paperwork, no one responded to anything in my paperwork.
What'd you file on this?
I got I gave him the ball in there.
Yeah, none of that does anything. That's more of the that we just ignore that stuff. So you want a hearing? Well, if you want him to prove it, then you ask for a hearing. You don't just file paperwork.
I told her if it wants to the date, you can give me a date.
Okay. Okay. Well, you don't ask the clerk if she wants to set a date. If you want to fight a ticket, you say, I want to contest this ticket. I need a hearing. So do you want a formal hearing date? I'll give you a formal hearing date. All right. You want to do that before the jury trial? Huron have any formal hearing dates coming up?
We can do it on December 10th, so we'll keep it.
December 10th?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, yeah. Just my regular Tuesday, you mean?
It's a Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. So formal hearing, what time do you do it? December 10th?
Do 10:30.
She's here all morning, so I'm asking you, 10:30?
And that's on the speed.
Yeah, the case ending in 143?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the other civil infraction is the CCW disclosure thing.
Which goes-
That's going with the February. You understood that?
But then you got before, right? No.
Usually after. Yeah, understood? That was a yes?
Yeah, I got you.
That one is.
All right, anything else, folks?
Nine.
Denied. Motion to dismiss denied. Although I did like the argument.
So we'll move more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get a notice for her?
Yeah, she's got a notice.
Ms. Crussell, your bench warrant has been set aside. All right, appearances for the township. Have a seat, make yourself comfortable. All right, so Mr. Krusell, you filed a number of motions. I'm going to let you pick which one you want to deal with first.
Well, this emergency motion stay needs to be addressed immediately, especially with the additional lines and the process violation.
Okay, just hold off with the argument. Hold off with the argument. The question was, what do you want to start with? Okay, so you filed something Friday. I took a quick look at it today. Is that any different than the motion to stay that you filed previously?
This is just bringing the fact that all the motions I filed,
Is that a yes or no, Mr. Krusell?
it's covering all the additional lines.
Okay. Listen to my question. Is it any different than the last motion to stay proceedings you filed? Okay, just give me what you've added since the last one, because this one I haven't had a chance to read fully. The first one I read fully.
I just have the same issue to telling you didn't give a shit about what I had to say.
Okay, hold on. Listen, Mr. Krusell, this is going to be a very long day for you if you don't listen to my questions and answer my questions. That was in the original motion to stay proceedings. I've asked you to give me whatever's new in this motion.
New stuff covers Judge Green telling me to sue the Secretary of State rather than addressing the due process violations in my case.
Okay, stop right there. How does that lead to why this should be stopped today?
All of this is stemming from where all of this should have been stopped a while ago.
That's not the way it works. Mr. Krusell, hold on. Okay. That's the last time you're going to interrupt me today without a contempt of court charge. Is that clear? Is that clear?
She gets me this entire time. No one has made her answer that.
One more word and it's contempt of court. It's $100 a contempt, and if I get totally fed up with it, then I'm putting you in jail. Okay? Just because she and I happen to agree on the law as it applies to your case doesn't mean we're in collusion. It's possible that you're wrong. At least accept the possibility that she and I have the same opinion about something. That doesn't mean we're colluding. You understand that concept? Do you understand that concept?
You're supposed to be impartial.
I am impartial. I've been trying to save you. Just because I agree with the prosecutor doesn't mean I'm against you. It just means I agree with the prosecutor.
So it means you, if you're agreeing with that, that definitely means you guys are lying against us.
So that means in any case, when I buy the arguments from one side, that means I'm colluding against the other.
You're agreeing.
Yes or no, Mr. Krusell? No, you have to answer my question. Contempt number one, $100. Answer my question. Every time I rule in favor of one side, does that mean I'm colluding against the other? Yes or no? $200. Yes or no? Because I can do this all damn day. And when I get tired of this game, then I tell them to put you in custody because it's contempt of court, criminal contempt in my view.
Yes.
It is. All right. So now, any argument you make from there, I'm going to deny because that's an unreasonable position you're taking. Judges, by definition, have to decide in favor of one party or the other. That's what we do.
When you made that statement, you were making.
What statement is that?
It was
I thought we were talking about Judge Green's SOS statement.
when you made this statement that you were setting aside my regular Travis saying that you don't, you're saying that the prosecutor, the township, and his court all see things the same way, setting that aside, not even allowing me to make my argument. So you were aligning yourself with the prosecution on the argument of my point and setting it aside. That's what you were doing.
Mr. Crussell, what I was doing was aligning myself with the law as I see it and interpret it. Stop. You can't just shake your head. You don't just get disagree with me and move on. If you don't like a ruling from a judge, you have to appeal that ruling. You don't keep arguing with the ruling. That's not the way the process works. Listen, brother, listen. I have tried to save you from yourself. If you remember the first time you were in my courtroom, I tried to get you to see things the way the process was going to move forward. Because, dude, this process is going forward the way I want it to move forward. You might not like that, but I'm in charge of the courtroom. And at the end of the day, if you don't like anything I do, you can appeal me. That's why they have circuit courts. But I'm not going to let you make this a dog and pony show, especially when we've got jurors here.
Dog and pony show. This court has failed to let me make any of my statements, any of my cases. You even were trying to threaten me with contempt anytime I tried.
I am threatening you with contempt. No, because third contempt. Do not interrupt me. When I said your objections don't mean shit to me is because you were using the word objection inappropriately. You objected every time I disagreed with you. If you have an objection, you have to have a legal basis for the objection. For example, she's trying to put a video into evidence. And you say, I object, Judge. She hasn't laid a proper foundation because all she said is, Judge, I've got a video. I'd like to play it for the jury. That's a proper legal objection. When I rule in her favor and you say I object and I say, what's your objection? And you just disagree with me, that's not a legal objection. That's why I said your objections mean shit to me because you're not using the word appropriately. Because you don't know what you're doing. That's what I tried to tell you originally the first time you were here. You've never been to law school. You've never tried a case. You don't know the rules of evidence and all the other things that have to be in play to have a trial go forward appropriately, properly, and to be perfectly honest, in your best interest.
Your Honor, again, you're trying to spin this here every time.
I'm not spinning.
My objection is based on you stopping, not allowing me to do it. And that's what you told me when you addressed me.
Okay. All right. So let's do it this way. What motion would you like to address first? The motion to postpone? Denied. I'm not denying the jury trial.
Especially with the jurisdiction, she's never once it's on the why it's on the prosecutor to prove those things. There's all sorts of irregularities.
All right, let me stop you for a minute. What do you mean you're not going to proceed? You're here.
Everything is taking place now shows exactly that there is enough to show. You're supposed you need to keep shit.
Once again, you're not answering the question I asked. You just said you will not participate, and I asked, what do you mean by that? I'm not asking you to explain your reasoning. I want to know, what does that mean? I'm not going to proceed with this. You're here. So when I impanel the jury, what? You're just going to sit there and not going to talk? What does it mean when you say you're not going to participate?
And go through until these things get addressed. All of my issues that have been ignored this entire time, especially excluding people.
Once again, if you accept the motion and I deny it, it's been addressed. You might not like the way it's been addressed, but then you have to appeal it.
That's the whole point of me getting all my objections.
All right, what's your objection? What's your objection to me denying your motion to postpone this trial at the last minute?
I'd like to put on the record that if whatever you would like to do from there, you can, because I don't, until these things, like I say.
Hold on. Is this statement preceding all these motions you filed? Okay, then let me make my ruling on all of them. I think there's a motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, correct? Okay, would you like to respond to that one? Because I think that's already been addressed.
Please arrested Mr. Krusell while he was in Huron Township, but if our district court has jurisdiction over offenses that occur within the township, both civil and criminal, this is criminal and
Did you appeal Judge Green's decision on that motion?
I'm investigating because I've been in contact with the appeals.
Okay, so there's no appeal filed yet, correct? I'll take that as a yes. There's no appeal filed. That motion is denied then. She made the ruling. You don't get to ask me to make the same ruling. Once again, don't interrupt me because I can go to 4 real quick. Judge Green, a judge in this court, ruled on that exact motion and denied your motion. That motion has not yet been appealed, and it certainly doesn't get appealed to me. Is that clear?
Yes.
Thank you. Next motion. Motion to
The judge can't just come in here and say that there's.
Yes, the judge can. Listen to me. Then appeal her to circuit court. A judge made a ruling. You don't get to keep arguing that same motion.
All she said was that Judge Martin was sending aside and that I should go sue the Secretary of State. The things that she's claiming and saying were never said to me. And I have all the recordings and they're submitted to the court. These things were never said to me. And then she comes here and makes these accusations and saying that the judge said this, the judge said that.
Fine. Then I'll say the same. I'll say the same thing to you. Listen to me. Here on your motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, denied. By me, you can appeal me because the reason she stated, the Township of Huron issued you a citation. This court has jurisdiction over citations issued by the Township of Huron. So for that reason, I'm prepared to move forward and adjudicate that citation. Is that clear enough so you can appeal my decision?
Fine.
Okay. Next one up is motion to reconsider for bias and judicial misconduct. Denied. Would you like me to clarify that in any way?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Then guess what? The Court of Appeals can overturn me because I'm not biased to you. You might not like the way I talk to you. You might not like the things I say to you, but I'm not biased against you. Believe it or not, brother, I would like to save you from what's going to happen today. I really would. Because here's my dude, let me talk. You have turned what should be a fairly minor misdemeanor and civil infraction situation into a huge mess. I don't think it's going to end well for you. I tried to save you from that the first day you were here when I tried to convince you to have some conversation with a court-appointed attorney, and you didn't want to do all that. I know in my heart of hearts, I have no ill feeling towards you whatsoever. And I'm going to give you the best trial I can give you today if you decide to participate. But I am not going to let you drag things in front of this jury that I determine are not relevant because that's my job as the gatekeeper after the judge over the trial. I'm not going to let you get into a bunch of arguments that I think are just going to cloud issues if I don't think they're relevant. That's my job as the judge, not because I don't like Mr. Crussell. It's because my job as a judge is to run this trial efficiently and effectively. And I'm going to do that. And if I do that, I anticipate I'm going to step all over your toes and your beliefs. But that doesn't mean I don't like you or I have bias against you. So I am denying your motion to recuse myself. Anything else you want to put on the record so you can appeal that decision? Once again, stop. That's an improper use of an objection. What you want to say is, I disagree with that, which is fine. That's why you appeal it to the circuit court. But it's not an objection. What's your legal objection to my ruling? That's not a legal objection to a ruling. That's not a legal objection. So that's two motions down. The next one is motion for relief from judgment. I'm assuming that's Judge Martin's decision to set aside your defaults. All right. Do you really want me to grant that motion? Because if I grant your motion, that means the default that was set aside, defaults that were set aside are reinstated. Is that really what you want today?
Well, listen, the thing is,
Mr. Krusell, yes or no? You filed a motion asking me to set aside a decision that was made. Do you really want me to set that decision aside? Because that means those civil infractions are then in default and they're done. Is that a yes or no? Yes or no? Do you want me to set aside those default do you want me to set aside the default set asides? Do you want me to reinstate those default judgments? Then I'll deny that motion. All right. You filed something called notice of constitutional rights, which I didn't see anything where it required me to make any decisions or anything else. You're just letting me know that you're standing on the Constitution? So am I. All right. The emergency stay we dealt with. You also file an affidavit of non-consent. You didn't need to file paperwork for me to know you didn't consent with the proceedings, but I got the message there. Was that the only message I was supposed to get out of that document?
essentially, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't need a preachy moment. I just want to make sure I wasn't supposed to get anything else out of that affidavit other than you don't like the process that we're involved in. Next thing I had on my list was affidavit of non-consent. Oh, excuse me, motion for judicial notice. What does that judicial notice of what?
Certain terms that this prosecutor keeps trying to use and apply in this case that are not the lawful terminology being used.
Okay. For example.
You use motor vehicle.
Okay. Motor vehicle's pretty much a term of art in our business.
Law differences between how it's being used. Absolutely.
Well, then you can make those arguments. But you can't tell her she can't use that phrase. Yeah, but I'm not the trier of fact. So if you want to make an argument to the jury that her use of the term motor vehicle is improper, you can make that argument. Is that what you're concerned about? Is you're not going to be able to make the argument?
Yes.
Get what stuff on the record?
Filings.
Well, I can guarantee you're not getting all these filings on the record because the jury has no reason to know about all your motions.
All of this has to go. Everything that's taking place.
No.
Exactly.
No, that's not the way it works, Mr. Krusell. Mr. Krusell. All right, listen, brother, listen. You don't get to tell me what my job is. I've been doing it for 25 years. Listen. Well, then that's why they have appellate courts for the fourth or fifth time. I decide what this jury gets to see today. I decide. That is, by definition, the role of the judge at a jury trial. I get to decide what goes in front of that jury. If you don't like the decisions I make, you appeal those decisions. That's the way it works. What this jury has to decide today is whether or not you violated the township ordinance on that date. Hold on. None of these legal arguments about whether or not I should recuse myself or whether or not you notice me up for constitutional rights, none of that has to go to that jury. And none of it's going to.
That's the other issue of the trial and not emergency stop, motion to stop this.
I already ruled on that.
Certainly, acknowledge my motions for my next travel.
Once again, I'm doing my function as a gatekeeper for a jury trial. I'm deciding what's relevant and what's not. And you can disagree with me that all day long. But we're going to do it, once again, we're going to do it my way. You can appeal me. I've been appealed before. I'll probably be appealed before I retire again. It's okay. That's the way the process is set up. I encourage you to appeal me. All right. I am open-minded enough to think that perhaps my mindset about your whole travel thing, maybe that's all wrong. So a circuit court judge can tell me I'm wrong. But so far, and I've ruled this way a number of times on the traveling issue, nobody's ever appealed me to lead to a circuit court judge to tell me I'm wrong. But I'm open to that idea.
That's the point. You just keep. Each judge has done the same thing. They just keep setting aside and acting like it doesn't even exist, not allow me to make my case, which is violating my rights to be able to produce my case in my head.
What's your case that traveling doesn't mean operating?
I am accepting the fact that this court's violated my due process rights in every way, the judicial bias and the fact.
All right, then appeal me. But today we're having a jury trial.
Participating in an unlawful jury trial, and I think that late statement need to get on the
All right,
record.
but hold on a minute. Once again, I want to know what that means. You're not participating.
Not participate in a jury in a trial where there is clear bias in this board against you. It
Okay.
violates my rights to a fair trial. 100%. And you want to keep overlooking them. I know they make you seem like they're not a big deal, and
No, your rights are a really big deal.
obviously not, because if you can sit there and say that the things that are happening, the things you're saying, and just try to give these excuses, oh, just because I agree with her on this, you are aligning yourself with the prosecutor on my right to trial, completely setting aside, not allowing me.
Mr. Krusell, no, I'm not. Listen to me. No, it's not. Listen to me. Listen to me. She could step out of the room, and I still think your travel argument is bullshit. Traveling. The right to travel was when you did it by Shank's mare. That's my decision. Appeal me. When you're driving a motorized vehicle or traveling in a motorized vehicle, that brings all those ordinances into play. That's my legal ruling. Appeal it. I encourage you to do that. But that whole traveling argument, which, dude, I've been through that argument a whole lot more than you have. Trust me, in the last 25 years, I've had that argument a lot. Traveling as you try to apply it meant you could not be stopped by the government from walking from one venue to another. But when we got motorized, then the rules kicked in.
Rulings from the American Jurisprudence side that literally stated that yes, first of all, you're allowed, and including automobiles, as long as one does not interfere with another's rights. And this is something that's been established to be secure.
Then appeal me. Take that precedent and appeal me.
As well.
Okay, that's your right. I'm not trying to stop you from doing any of that stuff. I'm just trying to stop you from bogging down this jury with stuff that I've determined is not appropriate today.
Because just because you're determining it based off of what though? That's what I'm saying. All these things are relevant and they are accurate.
They're relevant to you. They're not relevant to me. I've made the decision. I have made the decision. I made that decision months ago and you didn't appeal that.
I mean, the process we're kind of,
Which is not an appeal.
is a extreme, lawyer, but there's bullshit that you can't do that.
Absolutely, I do that.
100%.
No. Listen to me. Listen to me. If I don't hold you to the same standard I hold her to, then I'm treating you differently than her. How is that unbiased and impartial? You've decided to engage yourself in this venue, in this arena. That means you got to know the jury structure. Yes, you have.
I'm forced to be here.
But you didn't have to do it. You didn't have to do it as an untrained layperson. You had free access to qualified, competent legal counsel. They're still here. There's one right there behind you. He's still ready to help you. You chose to do this yourself. That means you've got to know the court rules. You've got to know the statutes and the ordinances. You've got to know the rules of evidence. And if I help you through those lapses in your knowledge base, that's not fair to the prosecutor. Then I'm taking sides. And now I'm not going to let her walk all over you and try to trick you because you don't know some of those rules and statutes. But I am absolutely going to require you to know what you're doing because you've chosen to do it. That doesn't show bias. That shows impartiality.
There is no partial anything. I have the.
Once again, Mr. Krusell, that's your opinion. No, it's your interpretation of the facts. So you have to appeal my decisions. And look, dude, the fact that you're not in a jail cell right now shows how impartial I am.
When Officer Price literally pulled up to meet my wife days before any of this even happened and talked to us about the traveling, even told me I was well within my rights, gave me every clarification I was well within my lawful rights. This was all a retaliatory thing from the beginning. And then even when the chief called me. He even called me trying to arena. I was like, what's that arena? And then he goes towards the motor vehicle. And then he tries to get me to not pursue legal matters. And then he's mad at me. And then the day that I filed for my body cam, I'm getting removed from here on a little league.
And stop. Hold on. I don't doubt that it is. But I think we got into this a little bit the first time you were here, and I told you that's not proper for this venue. If you want to complain about the way the Huron Township Police Department handled this, you can file a civil lawsuit against them if you want to. But what's in front of me is one civil infraction and 2 misdemeanors. That's what's in front of me.
Oh, and every time I force it to make my case, the court just keeps setting all my stuff and not allowing me to be heard.
Because I'm going to make decisions based on the facts. That jury hopefully is going to make decisions based on the facts that are presented.
How can there be facts if this court continues to not allow me to get my facts?
Because the facts you want to get into, what facts do you want to get into? The chief had some conversation with you?
It's not even just that. I mean, well, yeah, regardless, I have all of that to cover too. The fact that my offense, based off what I was doing, I didn't have to produce any of that. It just keeps all just thrown aside. Every single, and just not even trying to acknowledge any of it.
So hold on. I don't understand. Hold on. You want to be able to testify to this jury?
No, it's not. I'm not testifying to. That's what I'm saying here. It's the amount of traditional bias in this.
I'm done hearing about bias. You need to appeal me. I don't feel I have bias.
Okay, well, I don't feel that I would have a fair trial here with everything that's been taking place by the file policy. Why did we?
And I've denied all these things.
Well, of course you can deny it. Again, show them again that this.
Once again, Mr. Crussell, just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I'm biased against you. Maybe I just think you're wrong. Is it possible we could have a difference of opinion?
Tina Green told me that she was just not acknowledging myself because the Secretary of State will make sure that this isn't a big deal. Right? Showing.
I'm not gonna.
It's no impartial sport here.
I've never brought a Secretary of State, have I?
This is where this all stems from. These are the things I've been trying to get noticed. This and talked about.
What do you want getting noticed that we're not getting noticed?
The fact that this is collusion.
It is not collusion. What? All right, listen. What are you going to do today? Because I'm ready to bring the jury, and I've denied all. Stop! I've denied all your motions. I'm ready to set the trial. Are you not going to be here?
Again, Your Honor, hasn't established nothing is even put in here, right? And especially regarding the jurisdiction stuff.
Once again, we're at $300 now. We're going to $400. I'm going to ask you the question again. I'm ready to call the jury. Are you going to leave?
There's no way there can be a fair trial here.
That didn't answer my question. I need to know how I'm going to proceed, because we can have the trial if you just sit there. I'll just tell the jury you've decided to represent yourself and you might not say anything today. So that's the way you want to go with the trial.
I do. So he's against that.
Okay.
Everything is on the record.
Okay. Okay. No, let's on the record as you feel they should be.
I brought the sites that I left the sites at home and bring up the person's jurisdiction.
And hold on. Once again, I want to just, because he just walked in the room. Once again, I want to let you know there's a very competent, experienced legal attorney here, defense attorney here, that's more than willing to help you with this if you want his help.
Well, the sport actually was supposed to be.
And that ain't gonna happen.
Well, anybody showing you were supposed to reduce yourself. It's in the book.
And I don't think I've shown bias. That's what we keep. Once again, you and I disagree. That's okay. That's America. You have to appeal me. You don't just keep to argue. You don't get to argue the same thing over and over and over until I agree with you. That's not going to happen. I know I am not biased towards you. I also know that your ideas of how the law applies in mine are vastly different. But because I'm in the black robe and I'm in charge of this trial today, my ruling stands until a circuit court judge or some higher court tells me I'm wrong. That's just the reality of it.
That's what I have to do. Is this court's not going to rule it the way it's supposed to. I'm not going to stand by your
Not by your definition, I'm not.
The Secretary of State and Attorney General and to you. I've never heard anything. I don't even know if you're lawfully allowed to proceed it. You can say that again. It's been proven on the record.
No, it doesn't need to be proven on the record. Show me a statute or a court rule in Michigan that says I got to prove that. Michigan statute or Michigan court rule says I've got to do that.
I have it in there. I thought it was in this motion.
So you're such a great legal scholar.
MCL 168.420 and MCL 168.467 mandates that the judge must file an oath with the state, and you provide it when asked. That is what you have to do.
Anything else you want to put on the record before I call the jury in?
Yeah, lengthy statement I would love to put on the record before we get.
How lengthy?
Minutes.
Go ahead.
Respectfully,
Just so you know, you're putting this on the record. You're putting this on the record. I'm not listening. Showcase the record.
Your Honor, Judge Oakley, I respectfully assert that this court has failed to by the files of the case. Yeah, well, then she can make.
Thank you.
I respectfully assert this court has failed to address the critical motions I have filed in this case, including a motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, a motion to recuse for bias, and a motion for relief from judgment. These motions have raised significant concerns about the court's jurisdiction, judicial bias, and violations of due process under both the Michigan Constitution and the U.S. Constitution, particularly the 5th and 14th Amendments. I have also submitted affidavits and motions, including an affidavit of truth and an affidavit of rebuttal regarding the traffic stop by Officer Merrill, which is connected to this case on August 21st, 2023. Citation number 24HR-10143, which this court also ignored. These documents directly challenge the jurisdiction of the state in this court, and failure to address them constitute a violation of due process rights. Additionally, I have filed an affidavit of not consent, a motion for judicial notice, a motion for clarification of accuser, none of which were acknowledged by the court. In Marbury v. Madison 5 U.S. 137, the U.S. Supreme Court clearly established that any law repugnant to the Constitution is void. I believe the action or lack thereof of the court violate fundamental constitutional principles. In Murdoch v. Pennsylvania 319 U.S. 105, the court reaffirmed that no state may impose fees or penalties for exercising a constitutional right. And Thompson v. Smith 155 reinforced that the fundamental right to trial freely without undue interference. 557 and 706 require that any judicial or administrative proceeding be fair, free from bias, and based on factual evidence. I have serious concerns that this court has disregarded this evidence. I have serious concern this court has disregarded these principles, given its method of dismissing my motions and statements made by Your Honor, who has stated on record that we see things the same way, referring to the prosecutor, township, state, and this court. This admission clearly demonstrates judicial bias and lack of impartiality, which undermines the fairness of these proceedings. It is also significant that Judge Tina Green has admitted in court that the Secretary of State is influencing the rulings, stating that the court is required to enforce certain rulings because of the Secretary of State makes them do so. This further demonstrates that this court is not acting as an impartial judicial body, but is enforcing motor vehicle codes and other rulings based on external directives rather than applying the law independently. The Secretary of State is an executive branch agency, and his influence over judicial proceedings is a violation of the separation of powers and the constitutional right to an independent, fair trial. Furthermore, there is clear evidence of collusion between the court, prosecutor, Huron Township, including the Huron Township Police Department. I have submitted body cam footage highlighting violations of department policies by several officers, including Officer Merrill, Officer Side, Officer Smith, and Chief Everett Robbins. These violations occurred even after Sergeant Price confirmed that my activities were lawful. Yet this court continues to overlook these crucial facts. Officer Merrill's traffic stops of both myself and my wife are connected to the ongoing retaliation against me and my family, which has compounded the bias and misconduct in this case. Additionally, I have requested Your Honor's oath of office through an affidavit of fact, registration statement, demand request pursuant to the Foreign Agent Registration Act of 1938, and anti-bribery statement request, and I have received no response. This lack of response raises further questions about the legitimacy and legal standing of this court. Moreover, Judge Lisa Martin issued an unsigned default order without jurisdiction or court seal, and during court proceedings, she admitted she did not understand the sui juris. These actions reflect further incompetence and violations of due process. I must also address the township's deliberate attempt to mislabel my private automobile as an off-road vehicle under local ordinance to circumvent my constitutional right to travel. This mislabeling is an attempt to subject me to commercial regulations that do not apply to private, non-commercial travel. This ORV ordinance was never intended for public roads. Under the Clearfield Trust Code, United States 318 U.S. 363, when government entities operate in a commercial capacity, they lose sovereign immunity and are subject to the same legal standards as private corporations. The court's actions, including the misapplication of commercial motor vehicle codes, further demonstrate its commercial interest in misinterpretation of the law. The Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Paragraph 2, mandates that this court is bound by the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. This court, however, continues to proceed without regard for constitutional protections, violating my rights at every stage of these proceedings. To continue under these circumstances would be a violation of my constitutional rights and an abuse of judicial power. I respectfully request that the court issue rulings on the pending motions, including a jurisdictional challenge, and immediately dismiss this case by citing overwhelming evidence of judicial misconduct, bias, and due process violations. So these issues remain ignored. I will see immediate appellate relief, hold all parties accountable, including Your Honor, Judge Martin, Judge Tina Green,
Prosecutor Caitlin Morgan Foley, Officer Miro, Officer Sy, Officer Smith, Chief Everett Robbins, and the Huron Township Police Department. I further assert that if this court continues to proceed with the presumption that I engaged in commerce, it must present evidence to substantiate his claim. Without such evidence, this court has no authority to enforce commercial motor vehicle codes or ORV ordinances upon me, and any further actions would be unconstitutional and unlawful.
Mr. Krusell, just so you understand the process, we're gonna do voir dire. Did you have a chance to talk about the iPad?
No.
Hold on a minute, Joe.
Yeah, I told him I would go over it.
Okay. I understand that's your position, but I'm still gonna explain things as they go. All right, I mean, I just want you to understand what's going on, so if you decide you want to jump in, you'll know where you're at. Understood? I'm not trying to talk you into participating. I'm just letting you know what's happening. I'm gonna explain things as we go, for you and them. You got that?
I suppose I don't understand why I need to sit here and use my time for an phone.
Because if you leave, I'm gonna ask you a bench warrant, and you're still gonna have to deal with this down the road. At least this way, listen, here, one of two things can happen today if we have the trial. Either they find you not guilty and you're done, then you can file all your grievances and stuff, or they find you guilty and you're just filing one more appeal.
Instead of wasting everyone's time.
You've already wasted their time because they're all here. They're all here.
Well, that's why I filed these things weeks ago. These things should have been addressed before this process even took place.
There's a scheduling issue that takes place too.
So
But hold on. Hold on. Don't interrupt. You didn't appeal the last round of decision. You didn't appeal the decision you didn't like from Judge Martin. You didn't appeal the decision you didn't like from Judge Green, and you didn't appeal the decision you didn't like from me last time you were here. So here's my problem. I'm not going to adjourn today because you say you're going to appeal, because if you don't, we've accomplished nothing and we're no further to resolving these files.
I had to file with the appeals court, but I've been in contact with the appeals court.
Okay, hold on. Let me try to educate you. You contacting the appellate court, first of all, this should go to the circuit court. All right, you've gone. Okay. So I didn't choose for you to be here, but you're here. Okay, so we have to get through it. All right. So the way it works is you don't just talk to them about an appeal, you actually file and perfect an appeal, but you didn't perfect the appeal. So there is no appeal. You started the process, but there is no appeal. So we're going to go forward today. The only question is, are you going to be in the chair now?
No, again, if you wish to prevent it, I'll participate in on one, correct?
Depending on what I set the bench warrant at. It can be whatever I want it to be. Once again, but see, you think that's bias, right? And that's me explaining to you the way the process works. I could set a $10,000 cash bail on this. And until a circuit court judge tells me that's got to be set aside, it's the bail. That's the bond I set if I set it. Because here's the thing. And I'm trying to, listen, dude, I'm trying to get you to see I've got a job to do. It's got nothing to do with you personally. All right, you keep bringing this, I'm having so much trouble getting through to you. I'm thinking the next step is a competency exam.
So that fact that she told me that on the record in front of her, and in all the things that she's saying, the judge said, she never said that on the record. I have the record submitted.
Well, once again,
She wasn't doing this because of the Secretary of State.
Then appeal Judge Green's decision. I've told you that at least 5 times today. If a district court judge makes a decision you don't like, you appeal it to the circuit court. You don't just keep arguing again. That doesn't get you any further along. So if you don't participate today, if you just sit there, that's fine. We'll have a trial. You can jump in if you want to. You don't have to. I mean, in any criminal trial, the defendant doesn't have to do anything. But at each step of the game, I'm going to let you know what your options are. So for example, when we do voir dire, I'm going to ask questions of the prospective jurors. She's going to ask questions of the prospective jurors. You can ask if you want to. You don't have to. All right. When it's time to pick the jury, She has a certain number of challenges she can use. So do you. You don't have to exercise those challenges, but that's the way we pick the jury. Do you understand that process?
Marcus is up and trying to get all this stuff established with the court's contingency. And I still have evidence that I'm trying to get from the township that they're using lead codes to redact, which they did with the policy information that I tabled and got them to give me the policy because they were trying to use things on. And I
Okay, stop right there. Hold on. Stop right there. Stop right there. That's something new evidence you're waiting for. What are you waiting for?
I haven't got it to even get to.
No, tell me what it is. What?
Evidence that was that I requested from FOIA's in the very beginning with my bottle camera.
No. But what is it? You're looking for some records, some ordinances? What?
Part of the traffic stuff, comments and things that were put in there that.
Hold on. In where?
In the comments.
You don't have police reports?
Well, I do, but I found out that they withheld certain documents that when I filed my FOIA, they didn't give to me. And then upon doing more, filing for more stuff, I uncovered that they withheld certain documents that are given.
Hold on. Let me hear what you just say. Just hold on. Go ahead. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
He's bringing things from the south and
You mean like the officer's personal notes? Had notes.
and for example, body on camera where they're sitting in their patrol car and the computer's on. Those are all lien material that can't be discoverable. It can't be shared with people outside of those that are have the security clearance to observe or handle lien material. So that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
That's not what I'm referring to. The notes on the computers and stuff, that's not what there's even stuff that was in the body cam that when they were talking to the chief, that they purposely redacted out of the conversations, and the notes that that are completely all redacted. It's nothing to do with computers. It has nothing to do with personal information and names or addresses. There were things that were stated in conversations that were taking place in these notes.
Let me stop you. During the traffic stop?
They withheld this when they should have given it to me in the very beginning with my FOIA for everything else involved in my traffic stop. They didn't.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to clarify. Are you talking about like, how do I want to say this? Personal comments between two or more individuals?
No, it's not personal comments. It was stuff that was logged through the traffic stop. Like,
No, stop. But I got to understand what you mean. Logged through the traffic stop. You mean it showed up on camera and then they edited the camera?
yeah.
Or edited the recording?
As well. And there was no clear reasons why. Every time I try to get reasons to why they did it, what it's next, because they're supposed to label why it is. I haven't got anything. And then it's in the comments sections of like what was going on.
Hold on. Comments on the incident report?
It's not the incident report. It was through the while the traffic stop was taking place, stuff that was being entered through like I can't remember exactly what the paper is I am. Like I said, I'm in the process of getting it all. I'm appealed it to the supervisor, and then he vaguely gave just cited statutes and codes, but he was supposed to tell me how and why I didn't even see the applying to the lead sections, which are failing to do because
All right, so hold on. So what I'm hearing, I want you to confirm whether or not I'm hearing it correctly. I think what you just said was those comments section things that you want, they're telling you that's all lien stuff and it's protected.
yeah, I had other
Hold on. Is that a yes? That's what they're telling you?
essentially.
Okay.
So, and part of the site, the whole thing paper I got from them, they didn't do it in any of the other ones. Only
Hold on. Other one what?
all the because there have been several books, several times the cops came out of their house, and we were told, well, this has been going on for all of the year, probably by incident happened.
Okay.
So I filed get all of every cop that had been there, all the reports, anything to do with anything that I could get that was access to me. And then that's how I found out that these other reports weren't released to me. And then in my life traffic stop, they did the same thing. Everything to do with that entire traffic stop is all completely redacted. But yeah, any of the other stuff, it's all open.
Redacted from,
The whole page is just black.
hold on. Redacted from the incident report?
Yeah, from the incident.
The paper report that you received?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
With no justification involved. So why any of these things are redacted, I keep trying to, and how they did it with the policy. I tried to get the policy 3 separate times to the department, and then they cite these lien codes for names and addresses and stuff, which I understand there's certain stuff.
What policy?
The policy conduct for officer conduct and how the officer is supposed to operate themselves, right? So they denied several times, stating the same lead codes are trying to fix all these redactions now. So I appealed it to the township supervisor, and he released all of my information. And it showed that the policy showed that these officers violated the policy, and you.
Okay, hold on, stop. So he released everything, but not everything you want?
Well, then once I realized they were doing this, I went back to get more. That's how I found out there was more stuff that was under released to me.
Okay.
And then they're doing the same process using these lien codes to not let me see what was put in this paper. And that's why it's all American titans. I've been trying and fighting all this full time trying to get this stuff together. And I'm getting every which way. I'm being
Raising issues that concern me. Because now we're talking about discovery requests that are being partially fulfilled.
As it is with this stop, he does have the incident report, he does have the body on camera for 4 officers in car, dash cam, what have you. He also personally took video. I don't have it. There was no mutual discovery. He elected to use the FOIA route to take all this information. What he's referring to again is the CAD information where there is no material. None of that affects what the substance of the incident report or the body worn camera or anything of that effect. He's also talking about incidents that I think they were probably about, the township attorney is dealing with it as opposed to the township prosecutor. There's probably about 20 different contacts that he has sought FOIAs through. So it's not just this incident. And what I suspect he's talking about where police may have came to his house or like a traffic stop or speeding ticket, there are no incident reports. Those are CAD notes. So that's probably why those are blacked out as opposed to this incident where a misdemeanor was attached and an incident report had to have been.
Okay. Anything else as far as information you requested that you don't have that you think you need?
I mean, that's the base of it. I'm still actually, now that I've been having to really dig into stuff, I'm uncovering more. Now that I've been through the body cams, I have to file more to get more stuff unredacted because there is clear points in these conversations that were purposely redacted. They have nothing to do with clean information that they keep claiming. Same thing with these CAD notes she keeps referring to. That's not what I'm trying to get hold of. And I understand that there are things that they can redact through the lien code. These entire things that are, there's no way the entire pages and these comments and everything are all lien information. I know that. I've been told.
How do you know?
I've been told for Sergeant Price, things that are said in these personally about me and stuff like that that are being redacted because it can be used showing the bias and everything, the retaliation against them. And I know for a fact what was said these things. That's why I know that being redacted is more than much to say.
Okay. But Mr. Krusell, with all due respect, that all sounds like a civil lawsuit against the township.
Well, yeah, this is my arguments. I'm trying to bring into this court, but everything's just being keep getting.
Because I'm not going to get into all that with a jury.
But that goes directly to this, is what I'm saying, and that's why I've been trying to get all of this stuff answered before we even got to this point.
I'm not going to let you get into all that with a jury. It's going to be confusing. We're going to go down rabbit holes.
That's why I'm prepared, because I need to be able to present my case. Just fair. So this case
Go back to February. We set this trial 2 months ago.
You're right, but
2 months and 2 weeks.
I'm trying to get the jurisdiction established. I'm trying to get the judicial bias stuff taken care of. All of these things that have not, that they've just been it is what it is, just getting swept under the rug.
Okay, hold on. Once again, I have to take offense to that. I'm not sweeping your judicial bias argument under the rug. I'm denying it.
I give it, yes.
Okay. No, seriously. See, it doesn't matter what you have to say. If I'm determining bias, I know what my heart is. Now, you appeal that decision or you grieve me to the Judicial Grievance Commission, right? They can look at all your facts and say, well, Oakley, clear bias. But I don't have to hear all your arguments and see all your evidence to know I'm not biased.
That's fine. I guess that's something that I have already started to do bias, and I will be going down it. The more I've been talking.
Okay.
So again,
Sir, it's 9:02. The jury's been here since, I'm assuming shortly after 8, some of them were showing up.
yeah, like I said, I cannot participate in something that I know is stacked against 100%.
Well, once again, you think it's stacked against you just because you don't agree with the way things are going. Okay.
It shows that these things have to be established, that there has to be any.
Then,
I know that you see bias, but that, to any.
okay, stop. We're just hashing the same arguments again. If you're right, then you've got an automatic appeal if they convict you today. If you're right, and this whole thing has been nothing but a sham,
It has to be, and it's all this turned into.
okay, bring the jury in. I'm tired of talking.
That's the motion will be real quick.
Motion who? Oh, I forgot you filed a motion. Give me just a moment. Yeah. Yeah. Did you see that? Hold on. Did you get her motion?
I never seen anything.
Yeah. No. Just, you got a copy, you can just at least show him so he can see if he's seen it before.
When did you send this to me?
Last Tuesday along with our motions.
I have never seen this.
Take a minute to look at it.
I'd also like to bring up for the record too that.
Hold on. Hold on. Have you had a chance to look at what you just handed me? Okay. All right. So are you ready to argue that motion?
Well, no, I had no time to prepare for anything next time. I've never seen that before. And
Okay.
it's just trying to keep me from being able to bring up all my valid arguments that are all applied to.
Once again, valid as you determine them,
It's advanced to the case.
as you say.
And that's, and they're saying with the things they're trying to say, right? They have no evidence. Where's the evidence, right?
Right. But I haven't ruled that anything she's trying to put in front of the jury is invalid.
So my defense to my.
Well, here, let's do it one at a time. She wants to stop you from saying anything about due process violations. Did you plan on telling the jury that your due process rights have been violated?
All part of this case.
Okay.
Same thing with all the way from the traffic stop all the way till now.
Specifically, what were you going to tell them about your due process violations?
Well, I don't have my defense completely in front of me because I'm again trying to get all the other matters. I'm not ready for that. So I've never even seen it, so I can't even build up a defense to that.
How was that provided to Mr. Crussell last week? Okay.
I received his motion, or his $100 motions on Thursday, so it didn't give me much time to respond. I did send it in the mail, I dropped it off at the post office this morning. And I didn't receive his most recent motion.
That was filed Friday. Right.
I sent a letter certifying mail, so I know what you're saying. I mean, we've never got first last name. Never.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. If you decide to participate and present any evidence to the jury today, then if any of these A through E's come up, we'll deal with those as a point on a point by point basis. Understood? I'm not, sir, I'm telling you, you don't have to. She wants me to give you a blanket instruction right now that you can't talk about any of these things that are listed in this motion. I'm not going to do that. If you choose to present anything to the jury and one of these topics come up, she's going to stop me probably with an objection, say, Judge, could we talk about that? And then we'll talk about that. Item by item. Understood? All right. Anything else before we bring the jury in? You said you wanted to say something before the jury came in. I thought you said.
Another key point to this, I filed for records requests in court, trying to get all my court hearings and everything and recordings. There's still one from the very first one from Judge Martin that is crucial to this case. They still have issues.
How could it be crucial to the case today?
That in ruling there are absolutely huge to all my ruling.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
All of this.
No, sir, everything started on February 3rd, 2024, when your tickets were issued. So anything,
Then I think it's default.
let me answer. I'm trying to be patient, Mr. Crussell. Anything Judge Martin said at a hearing about those tickets after February 24th, or February 3rd, 2024 would not affect the facts of what happened on February 3rd. Agreed?
But it affects what is going on with this court, as far as the fact that.
The only thing that's going on with this jury is deciding what facts took place on February 3rd and how they apply to the ordinances the township is trying to apply.
Yeah, they're getting going out of that, but again, like I said, I'm not gonna subject myself to sitting here through something that I know.
Then get up and leave, Mr. Crussell. You're not under arrest. I've already explained your options. I've tried to be as clear as I can with your options.
Like I said, I'm not participating in this. It's clear there's all sorts of stuff going on here that's right against me.
I understand you feel that way, but I've got a trial scheduled today. Something's going to happen. Once again, if you get lucky, they find you not guilty and you're done with this stuff.
Can I take a minute to figure out what I want to do with this?
Absolutely. Oh, one thing I want to make clear. The civil infractions don't go to the jury. You understand that? That's a formal hearing. That's just between us. You understand that? We'll deal with that after the trial if we have a trial today. The misdemeanors will be in front of the jury. You understand that? Okay, take a minute. Make it quick though. I hate to have the jury wait.
All right, y'all. So that's the end of the video or the compilation, so to speak. And I just want to thank you for watching. Mr. Krusell definitely had a lot of back and forth with Judge Oakley, and Judge Oakley being Judge Oakley, shut him down at every chance he got. All right. So I don't think there's any more to this proceeding because I've been doing a lot of digging or, this case. But if there is, I would definitely try to bring that to you. All right. So I just want to thank you for watching. And, if you made it this far, it's probably because you're snowed in like I am. I'm in the tri-state area, and we got some parts got about 15 inches and some parts got about 2 feet of snow. All right. So I've been stuck in the house since yesterday morning, and definitely been watching other people's videos and stuff like that on YouTube. So hopefully obviously you watched the whole thing if you made it this far. But anyway, let me just thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Also hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload more videos like this one. This is Carl from Services and Chronicles. I catch you on the next video. God bless. Peace.